Hello, hello, hello. Okay, we should be live. So if you are here watching this, drop a comment down below. Let me know that you're actually here and you can see me. So obviously I'm just supporting you guys in your Amazon business. I give you a bit of an update, like what I'm seeing, what's going on, and how we're getting on. So 1 second, if I'm just gonna check that we're actually live. Otherwise it would just be Tom talking to himself. So let's have a quick look. Am I live? Oh, I think I am. Upcoming, yeah, I'm live. Woohoo! And then let's just quickly check that I am live on Facebook. Last week it didn't work, so anyone on Facebook, I can only apologize. But we'll just check now. Am I live on Facebook? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. We shall find out. I don't think so. Right, so if you're here on maybe, oh no, we are. We're live on Facebook. There we go. Hey, that way. Right, so if you're here, say hi, drop a comment down below. So I don't know if I talked about it. Oh, Miguel. Hey, Miguel. Hey, Tom. Hey, how are you? How are you getting on? Let me know if there's any questions, anything I can support you within your business. So what are we seeing? I released an email, if you didn't know it, on my email list last week. I released, so if you're not part of my newsletter, just go to fasttrackfba.com, look at the bottom of the page, you can sign up for it. I released some information about cliniques, obviously gated, no problem. But specifically, what should you know about this? So this is around understanding your exposure to brands. Now, Clinique was fine, no problem, but all of a sudden they've just gated, and so it means you can no longer ship in products and you can sell the products you've got until for about the next month. That's it. Now, so what have we learned from this? We've learned that brands can stop us from selling on Amazon. They can put a gating in, which Amazon obviously then restricts, and therefore we stop selling. So we need to be careful about our exposure to any one brand, i.e. not having too much exposure to that one brand. And how do we do this? Let's talk about specifics and technicals. How do we understand? Well, number one, what you can do is you can go to Keeper Product Finder, and you actually go to like Keeper, Data tab, and then you go to, it's like, I think it's like Seller Storefront, for example, and then you get your own seller ID, which you can grab from Seller Central, and then you can put that in there. And then Keeper is just going to show you your distribution of ASINs by brand. So really, really simple. And all it's going to do is just tell you what percentage of your ASINs are for each brand. So in our business, we try to keep it below 20% for any one brand. Sometimes it can be challenging, sometimes it's not. But if we're too high on one brand, then that means that the next month we might try and decrease the amount of stock we're holding or decrease the number of lines, because we've probably just got too much cash tied up in one brand. And if they were to come in and IP complain us, then all of a sudden you're going to lose a lot now, or have a lot of stock that you just cannot sell. So for example, with Clinique, I know people who have got 5 figures, multiple 5 figures in stock that they cannot sell right now, shipping in, because they obviously they're restocking, and therefore Clinique have now blocked them, which is an absolute nightmare. Now, this method of using Keeper isn't perfect. It doesn't tell you asset value, but it does tell you the number of ASINs. It's a really quick way to do it. So I'm going to continue sharing great tips like that within my email newsletter. So if you're interested, do make sure you're signed up, and obviously I'll share them through that. So number one, Clinique has been gated, so that's a pain, but it's not the end of the world. And then like number two, within my business, I kind of share some stuff. And guys, if you've got questions, please drop them down below. Or if you are just here, drop a hi. Honestly, I'm really interested to see who is here. Miguel has already dropped his hi, Tom, down below, so I absolutely love that. Obviously, I'm here for the hour or 45 minutes to support you guys. So if you've got questions, drop them down below. Now, the other one, recorded a video on basically my purchasing manager has left. I know, how dare he, but he's been with me 4 years, so I kind of understand. He's going on to do a different role. My purchasing assistant is now starting up into the purchasing manager role, and I've just recorded a video about how we are going through that process. For example, around time blocking, around having different, how they allocate their time, having processes and what that looks like, really building out the systems for time, training from a sourcing up to a purchasing manager. So I talked about that. That was really, that video is probably going to go live next week. And so wait for that. I think that's going to be really good if you are thinking about getting a purchasing manager in your business. So I share a lot more detail on that in the Seller Academy, but do check that out as well. Let's have a look through. Miguel says, great recommendation. Thank you, Tom. No problem. More than happy to help. If I can help you, let me know. By the way, what are your questions? What are your problems? What are you challenging with right now? From Puerto Rico. I need to go there. I've never been. Mexico is nice, but I've heard good things about Puerto Rico as well. And the reseller kid. Hey, reseller kid. How are you? How's business? How can I help you today? I'm just drinking some coffee because if you don't know, I absolutely love coffee. So, like one of the other key areas we're looking at in my business right now, and I will just kind of share, so I think it's quite important, is we currently have more cash than deals available. So, and I had a good conversation with a friend of mine where we talked about I'm trying to increase the spend per deal. So from what we currently spend on average to increase it even more. And the reason behind this is the fact that I looked at that whenever we increase the number of ASINs above a certain amount, and I said about 200, we just found that we struggled to reprice them correctly. And that was a real problem. But what was really interesting is he talked not so much about increasing the spend per deal, but actually saying like, I don't think you have a problem. I think your problem is that you're not able to reprice effectively. And I said, why? How do you mean? And he talked about like, well, repricing should only really be done when you have problems with product. So therefore, if you're having to reprice a lot, you've probably got lots of problems with product. And generally problems with product comes with problems with suppliers because too many people are buying for them. So, and that led me into a really good realization whereby if I'm having to reprice a lot, it's because my products, the products we're buying are probably from suppliers whereby too many other people are buying and therefore they're crashing. And what was interesting is I went back through my business, I looked at all the products which I needed to reprice, I looked at the suppliers and I was like, so that was a good realization. So I thought I'd share that with you there. So the reseller kid said, not bad, just popped in. Hey, reseller kid, popping in, absolutely love it. So 1 second. Been struggling OA-wise. I'm trying to utilize Keeper, but not finding enough product. Any advice? Appreciate. Lots of RA done recently, which is very easy. Reseller Kid, are you, I'm guessing, I don't know if you're UK or USA, and if you're UK, are you over VAT registered or under VAT registered? Let me know about that. OA, let's talk about OA. So simplistically, okay. So there's a couple of things that I'd really think about. One is, okay, we talked about this before. Oh, by the way, you should like look at my how top 100 suppliers or how to find profitable products. So we're talking about niches. So number one, define a subcategory that you want to sell in. For example, a lot of like the other, should we say, a lot of big sellers on YouTube talk about like Nike sneakers, for example. Why? High value, absolutely fine. So you can do that, but like find a niche. That's a really important point. Now, number two is, or choose a niche. Number two is define the brands that you want to be selling in that niche, which is so important because you just want to be making sure that you know which brands you shouldn't be selling and which ones you should be focusing on. And then the reason why I say this is because right now you have too many suppliers, too many products to look through. And what you're trying to do is you do not have you're thinking of it like, I can't find enough deals. Well, I would change the equation and say I have too many bad deals to look through. So the question you're trying to ask is, I'm trying to get rid of the bad deals quicker. And that is, if they're not in this category, I'm not interested. So that's a lot of deals removed already. If they're not in these brands, I'm not interested. That's another lot of deals submitted or removed already. So what's left is going to help you find more profitable deals better. Now, the brands that we remove, they're probably going to be things like brands with IP complaints, brands that you have problems with, or brands that always crash, for example. You're just going to start building up a repertoire of brands that you really like. Then on top of that, you're going to think about what suppliers work for these brands. For example, I see you mentioned you're in the UK. If you've ever tried purchasing through Boots, you're like, it's just not worth your time. So you know that at least if you ever see a right mouse click search for a product on Boots in the UK, that it's just not going to be like, I'm not even going to bother looking at the supplier because while it might be profitable, I can't buy enough of the product to make it even worthwhile. So I'll skip that supplier and go to the other ones. So what you're trying to figure out is what are the other suppliers you should be skipping. So therefore, you're now just going to focus on right category, or you're going to skip wrong category, wrong brands, wrong suppliers. And so what is left is likely to be more profitable. Now, ideally, you want to know the brands that really work for you. So whereby, ideally, those brands want to have supply issues. If they're a brand that everyone can get hold of all the time, it's not going to work. You're always going to crash. But if you know the brands where they're always having supply issues, then you know the moment that product comes into stock, I will go deep because it's just going to run out. And if you understand that, fantastic. Now, if you understand not only the supply or the brand, but you also understand the say the what do you call it, the suppliers. And if you know how, like, that supplier, Holland and Barrett, for example, normally you can only get through an order and then they cancel. But I know if I can use different email addresses, I can get orders through. That's another barrier to entry. So you can go deeper because less people are going to get those orders through. So that's really, really helpful as well. So I think the best way to think about the whole equation is not about I'm trying to find profitable products, is I'm trying to get rid of unprofitable products. So I'd be looking at that. So the second kind of area I'd look at as well is as you go through this journey, and the reason why you want to focus on brands, on categories, is because every time you use storefront stalking, you want to look at other sellers. And if you notice another seller has a lot of products in maybe the brand that you like or the subcategory you like, then that's probably someone you should storefront stalk. But if you're looking at other people who've got lots of brands, lots of categories, like, don't worry about them. Like, let them do their own OA thing. They're probably buying leads lists, it's not helpful. But those people who are specifically on the focusing on what you are, they're really good people to storefront. And then what you realize is that you'll start having a lot of the ASINs, and you look at their storefront and go, I know that one, I know that one, I know that one. Oh, that one, what is that one? And then you go, I'm going to go try and find that one because they might know another supplier that you do not know. So again, there's kind of like 3 things you can do when you're looking at filtering down, getting rid of too much to getting rid of what's not going to work, focusing, niching down. Number 2 is the fact that you're going to be looking at storefront stalking in regards to like who to follow. And then number 3, when you found someone, you can just go through the list and try and find the products that they've got in stock. Why? Because you just know that if they are selling it for that price, then they know there's somewhere the profitable supply. So it's like not if, but how. Then it's going to make you on a little, wild avenue to figure out where they bought that from. So I hope that makes sense. So you said you're a UK VAT seller under that was only started at the end of Amazon. By the way, if you want to like join me more on live calls, you can join the top seller program. Obviously, I help you out with that as well. Like that's more not like this. It's like a Google Meet call. Let's put it that way. So I hope that helps. UK seller here struggling to find wholesale products in the UK. My God, wholesale in the UK is not that challenging. I had a conversation with someone today. 1 second. Zimby, what's the struggle with wholesale? Let me know about that. The answer is you just got to go through lots of lists. And by the way, if you're doing wholesale in the UK or wholesale general, it's the same process as OA. Number 1, find the subcategory. Number 2, choose brands. Number 3, open up wholesalers for those products. Number 4, analyze just those brands of those wholesaler, and if they come back good, fantastic. If say for example, you're looking for 30% ROI, I would be going down to 10% ROI in my analysis. Why? Because I want to be saying, if this is selling an insane amount or is it a good price, then I want to be going back and having a negotiation. But I wouldn't just be going 25%. I'd be going quite a bit lower to see what the opportunities are, and then you can negotiate. So, but it's just volume. I hate to say it is volume. And the analogy I'll have, and by the way, we're moving into wholesale a bit now. So we've got some of our team on it. So the analogy we have is the learnings I have from other people is you only need 5 or 6 good wholesalers. So I think about that, and then I think I probably should be testing 5 or 6 other wholesalers at all times. But the idea is I'm always just buying from my core 5 or 6, and I'm testing new ones, and then I come back to my 5 or 6, reorder from there, test new ones, come back, and we're just checking. And what are we checking for? We're looking for spend, and we're looking for profitability and generally ROI on those suppliers. So we're looking at all those stats on a monthly basis, just going, that supplier is really good. It's actually beaten that one. Let's get rid of that one out of my top list and replace it with this one. So I don't think it's too hard. It's just volume. It is really volume. And by the way, wholesale is like is a volume game, which VAs really, really help you for. And we work with a lot of wholesalers and support them in placing VAs with them. So reseller kit, I'm mainly beauty, toys, and games. Absolutely love it. Cool. By the way, if you've just started, I'd probably just do one. Focus on one. Boots is pointless. 100% got banned after first order. I know it's hilarious. Yes, I know all the main sites now, but it seems everyone else is using the sites. Agreed. But what are the other sites that people know about but struggle with? That's the question. What are things that people don't know how to do? For example, if there's a good site, can you get an old coupon code? Can you get discount cards? These things actually work. So just be mindful of that, and they really add up. So just because everyone knows about it, it's how are you what's your strategy? It could be that, okay, I know about all the sites, so I'm going to monitor them and I'm going to buy really quick, and then I'm going to ship it in and get it sold really quick. Or I'm going to buy the products and I'm going to hold. And again, if you're looking for products whereby there is a demand issue, supply and demand economics, you can just, if you're hey, I know that this product comes on sale. I've always seen the history of it in the keeper chart, and now I'm just going to buy it and hold it back home for like maybe 2 months and then ship in. Fantastic. And if you have the cash to do that, absolutely brilliant. Let's kind of jump through. Miguel, what is a general checklist you follow for restocks? Do you wait until you stock out, or do you have days on supply? Okay, interesting. 1 second. I'll tell you my process. We just updated it. By the way, I'll actually share it in the Seller Academy. 1 second. So we're updating it right now. Okay, so the biggest problem behind restocking is there's a lot of parts that you've got to think about. So when we broke it down into a 5-step process. So step 1 is we have lots of different ways that we find products that we might want to restock. For example, you might look at sales, you might look at out of stocks, you might look at days in inventory, doesn't matter, loads of them. So all we do is we take all of the ASINs of those products and we just throw them into a big list. Like collect this, throw it into a big list, absolutely fine. So we do that. So once we've done that, we then remove all the duplicates. So that's really simple. Step 2, I've got to get this right. Step 2 is we analyze those ASINs versus, I think it's 3 metrics. 1, we're looking at how much inventory is in Amazon, what's the Amazon days of supply they're telling us, and what's the Amazon recommended reordering quantity. Now, we also look at what's coming into Amazon and also what we've purchased in the last 7, 14, and 30 days. So we're just saying Amazon's telling us to reorder. We can see there's like 10 days of supply. Amazon's telling us to reorder this, but we reordered like 2 days ago. Okay, cool, not going to bother. So we can just really skim through all of these. We're just doing yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. So that's stage 2. Stage 3 is, I'll just think about this one because it's all written down somewhere. We went through it all, but it's quite a process, but it's really, really quick. Stage 3 is, what's the stage 3? Is it still, I think it's like, is it still in stock with the supplier? So we literally click the link, is it in stock at the same price or cheaper? Yes or no, dun, dun, dun. Then finally, if you fail on stage 3, it'll go back to the sources to find another product. And then stage 4 is, is it still profitable versus the market price? And that's when we load up the keeper chart and have a look. And then if the answers are all yes, then we buy. But that's what we've managed to do. And if I give you a really good analytics, we analyzed one of our purchasing managers doing the reorders, and for a whole hour, and we worked out on average it took them about 7 minutes to go through each ASIN, do the analysis, do it all, which is a really long time. Whereas now we've got that down to 30 seconds per ASIN, like on average, as in like same price, we should reorder it, how many to reorder, and it's profitable. So like bang, 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 bang. We can do the full analysis within 30 seconds on average because we're just filtering it down. So it's a really, really good process. And then if it's ever like out of stock or the price has changed in the process itself, it kicks back out to the sources. So that's the way it works. But the key metric we were looking at is time to reorder. So we can just throw more ASINs at the at the actual the process, and then we can reorder quicker. So we were taking like a couple of hours a day to go through reorders, and now we can do it in less than an hour, which is really good. And that's across like 350 SKUs, 350 ASINs, I think it is. Don't quote me, but it's time per ASINs reduced down. That's the key metric we looked at. How do you find let me know, Miguel, down below if that helped. Then how do you find wholesale suppliers? Oh, really easy. You just Google it, wholesale, or like wholesale toys. Lego wholesaler, Lego distributor. Go on Google Maps. There's so many thousands of ways. You can call up Lego and say who are your distributors. Lego probably won't do it, but like a lot of other suppliers will. You can drop a message. They'll let you know. Just work down the supply chain. Honestly, it really, really happens. You can find it. Like that's the way you do it. So simple. It's just there's so many videos on that. Honestly, on YouTube. I think you can do it. 1 second, Carlos. What was the issue with generic or misbranded listings getting seller violation 3 suspended? Okay, so long story short is I'm not too sure about generic, but misbranded listings are generally other people who've created the listing in their name. Like, let's say, for example, I don't know, Tom selling, like this is a sports mug, a blender bottle. And it should be under brand blender bottle, for example. But Tom, being Tom, because he's a bit cheeky, wants to sell the blender bottle with a little bit of card which says how best to use your blender bottle for Amazon sellers. Now, because I put that little bit of card, it's now a 2-pack bundle, blender bottle and this. And so the brand will now be Tom's brand or misbranded. And like to you, you're like whatever, it's just a blender bottle, like it's fine. So you're going to try and sell on it, and then because it's my brand now, I'm IP complaining you, and lots of people are getting these like violation or suspensions because of all of these, and I just don't like it. But long story short, you've just got to make sure one of our checks is, does the brand on the listing match the brand in the title and to the product? If that's correct, we're pretty happy. If it's not, then we generally stay away. So just be careful. It does happen. There are some bad actors out there, but I think also as well it's the fact that they've created the bad listings. Amazon will clear it up one day, but right now they're not the best. So I hope that makes sense. Carlos, let me know if you got affected yourself. Renna, learners. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm saying it right. Please tell me how to solve the compliance issues on legit health and personal category products. I don't really understand. What's the problem? What is compliance issues? What specifically is Amazon asking you for? Let me ask that question. Let me know down below. Honestly, I can help you, but let me know down below. Is there actually a way to tell an items are selling specifically? Like say, for example, I've seen Cobra has a 30-day chart. However, apparently it isn't accurate. I know SAS and Google sale. Okay, look, let's put it this way. When we do oh my God, there's a video on my page called like 6 ways to estimate sales. So when we do our sales estimation, we are always looking at 2 data points. So I want to be crystal clear. What does this mean? Data point number 1, and the one that I really like, is when you go onto any Amazon listing, just under the name of the Amazon and the brand, it will say selling sales per month. This is Amazon's own data, who's telling you it sells 50 per month, 100 per month, 150 per month, or 200 per month, 300. If it doesn't say anything, it's less than 50. You know that because it'll always be more than that. So number 1, we always look for that. Now, if it hasn't got that, it's always doing less than 50. So of these data points that I'm about to talk about, we always try and combine them as an average. So number 1 would be the sales per month at the top of the listing page. Number 2, we'd probably look at something like seller AMP sales estimator. Now we'll see what that is. That's quite useful. Number 3, we're going to look at, oh my God, I'm thinking. Number 3 is we will look at if it's slow sales, like below 20, you can generally sometimes count the drops. I'm not a big fan. Don't ever look at the drops thing on Keeper. I don't like that. I actually physically count the drops on the line and try and make an estimate. Number 4 is you can go into the Keeper data tab, offers, and you can count the drops on each individual stock listing. So we'll do like, over a 15-day period, this guy sold 10 units of stock. So 10 over 15 days would equal about 20 sales per month. Yep, sounds about right. So we'd always look for that as well. Another one you can do is kind of estimate the sales rank, so review count. So if there's lots of reviews, you can estimate either between like 30 to 100 sales equals 1 review. That works. Sometimes it can be 200, depending on the product. We'll use all of these data points to try and see like, so Amazon's saying it's doing 100 sales a month. SAS is saying 120 sales per month, and when I count the drops on the stock, it's saying about like 100 sales a month. Cool. So I've got 100, 100, and 120. So then I'll average them out and go, it's probably selling around like 110. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that's how we do it. What we understand is that no one method is perfect. We average it out. But the key thing you're looking for is that all the data kind of looks the same, if that makes sense. If you are getting Seller AMP telling you 1,000 and Amazon's telling you 50 sales per month, and the Keeper chart says nothing, or like the drops and you see nothing, I would be big red flag, because my data is so varied that I just would not want to be like buying deep on that product at all. If anything, I might just buy 5 units or a very handful of units to send the information in to try and get some real sales, and then I'm going to understand. So you are right. There is, by the way, there is no specific data. It does not get shared. The most accurate is Amazon's above, but it's still not perfect. And we always look at all the data points on their own and make sure, is that a good data point? Yes. And then we average them out, and that gives us a really good understanding of like where it should be, but it's always an estimation. So then you go and you send stock in, get real sales, and that's what you're looking for. So Reseller Kid, I hope that makes sense. Let me know down below. Zembe, thank you. Hey. So Miguel says, I create a new SKU for all new rebuys, and sometimes I have 2 FBA SKUs for the same ASIN at the same time. And then my repricer is fighting my own listings. How do you avoid that? Yeah, really, really good. You got to speak to your repricer, i.e. which repricer are you using? So we use SellerSnap, and they don't do that. They'll just use the oldest one, I believe it is. But yeah, you're probably going to have to change repricer. So on our USS, we do exactly the same thing. We create new SKUs, which is why when we do our reorders, we do it off ASIN, not by SKU, because the data is going to be different. And we also want to make sure that we, and then you've got to watch that. So sometimes it might be you have to turn off SKUs, which is really annoying. But I would probably look at maybe changing a repricer if it's fighting, because you're just competing against yourself. It's completely pointless. So hope that makes sense. But let me know what repricer you're using down below. I think you said profit. Yeah, I hate to say it, you're probably going to have to change repricer if you're doing that, because at the end of the day, look, you're paying what, $25 per month for that repricer, pay an extra like $50 for something else that won't do it, and then the net result is that you're just going to make an extra $300 by not competing against yourself, like in profits. So it's kind of a bit of a no-brainer. Hope that makes sense. Where are we at? Here we go. Carton Beats. Hey, Carton Beats. Hey, what is the process to start selling on Amazon USA from the UK? I'm already selling on Amazon UK. You can just open up, by the way. Like if you are buying in the UK to sell in the USA, that's quite simple. You just go to global selling and do that. That's absolutely fine. But if you want to do like OA and wholesale in the US, like doing it with a UK company, buying from the US and selling in the US from a UK company, I would not recommend at all. Just for the simple fact that basically US retailers don't acknowledge, even on their payment forms, that there is a world outside of America. I.e., like when you go to buy something, there is no option to say that your card is registered outside the US. So that's one. So you can't put an address in. So you can't do like United States or United Kingdom. It doesn't work. Number two is the fact that the US has probably way stricter card fraud detection than the UK. So what do I mean by that? I mean, like, if your billing address does not match your shipping address, 70% of all orders get cancelled, if not higher. So if you're trying to say, I'm shipping to my prep center in the US and your card is registered in the UK, cancelled. Like, doesn't even matter. It's never going to go through. I've had that. So this is why we created a US company. And again, if you want to know, we have getting started. Go to my fasttrackfba.com, go to courses, go to, there's a $99 getting started in the USA course that talks you through exactly everything we did, how we set up, why we did it, tax structures, how to get credit cards in the US, exactly. That's really, really helpful. So that's good. That could just guide you through it. So it's really good. And then the idea is that it's going to support you in, if you're going to do that US to US from a UK, as a UK owner, you can do that. And I have a second company now, so I'm really happy with that. So I have like a US company and a UK company. And right now everyone's like stressing in the UK about this VAT issue and proof of residency. And it's like a nightmare, and people's accounts getting suspended for like weeks on end. And I'm just like, I've got a US company. It doesn't matter. Like, so it's absolutely fine. So those people who've got two companies, they're a bit like, well, if one gets shut down, it's federal account. It doesn't really matter. So that's what we do. But Carlton, let me know like a bit more down below what you're trying to do. Let's go through. Research again. Very helpful. Cheers. You're welcome. No problem. Haven't you found that there's been what? Haven't you found that there's been what? It's like, I thought you'd say like, still haven't found what you're looking for or something like that. I have no idea. Let me know down below, Will. I want to know what you found that hasn't been, or that there's been. Have you found that there's been, what have you found, Will? I want to know. Ooh, Miguel said Profit Protector Pro. Yeah, fantastic. Do check it out. VJOD, 1 second. Hi Tom, what are your biggest issues in regards to online arbitrage in the US marketplace? Then what are the biggest benefits of the online marketplace? Okay, good question. So obviously kind of following on. So if you're thinking about selling on the USA, doing online arbitrage as a foreign national, to try and do it with an outside company is next to impossible, because you just cannot do it because of the billing address issues. If your billing address does not match the shipping address, it's really not going to work. Like, so much gets cancelled. You can't even put the order through to start with. The other problems you've got in regards to it is getting capital, getting access to credit cards is really difficult. We know a few ways, but they are very difficult, and we do share it in our course. But just accessing credit cards is really hard because you are not in the country. You have no credit history. But what are the advantages? margins are a lot higher. Let's talk about it this way. 40% ROI is kind of like normal, like okay. You can get 60%, you can go up to 100%. I've seen many deals like that, no problem. Volumes of sales are just next level. In the UK, when you see like, this is selling 50 per month, you're like, whoa, hey. In the US, 50 per month is like, it's okay. When you start talking thousands per month, you're like, this thing's on fire. So I'm seeing listings that we're analyzing where they're like 5,000 sales a month. And I mean, they're not even sub 10,000 sales rank. I'm like, this is next level. So sometimes when you get those great products, it really works. A couple of things that we do in the US which are really, really helpful. It's just much bigger. It's like the whole of Europe in one go. So we have a couple of products whereby they're not the greatest margin, but we can just keep replenishing for a long, long, long time. And I absolutely love it. Also, the culture in the US of discount codes, voucher codes, discount cards is great because all these things add complexity or barriers to other people to right mouse click source against you. Whereas in the UK, they don't really have that. It's like everyone can just see the price that you paid. Whereas in the US, it's like, I go to this supplier, I add this discount code, and I add this like coupon card. You're like, wow, and cashback is a lot more. My God, like you can live off cashback alone. I have friends making multiple thousands of dollars a month on cashback alone. And that's just, that alone is like, wow. So it's a different game. Storefront stalking is a bit different. And in the UK, I think you see too many listings crashing because of storefront stalking. But in the US, listings still crash, not as many, but also they don't crash for so long, and sales velocity is higher, and you can have more kind of like a bigger moat around your business. So I like that. I find it really good. But because of the capital, because of the credit issue, not being a resident, you just need more capital to start. So that's what I would think about. Miguel says, good point. Cool. Hey, Miguel. To your point of cancellations, I've lived in Puerto Rico, which is part of the US, and I got cancellations all the time. Yeah, 100%. Really agree. It is frustrating, but I just buy more from the stores that don't cancel. Yeah, agree. But I'll tell you one trick. I will tell you this. This is really funny because my VAs do it. Whenever you get a cancellation, we just email them back and say, hi, got cancelled. Can you tell me why? And the guy said, hi, you did our IP complaint or whatever. You hit our fraud protection. And my VA will just email back and go, hi, that's a problem. Any chance we can be whitelisted? And they'll be like, yeah, done. So then after that, all the orders go through. And it's like, wow. And we've literally had the screenshots come back of like, I've now added you to my whitelist. All your orders will go through. You're like, thank you very much. So get on the phone, give them a call, send them emails, follow up on the cancelled orders and find out why. Because if you are getting cancelled, everyone else will, and they'll do exactly what you're doing, which is stop ordering them, but you can still get them orders through. It just takes a little bit more work. But what you realize is that once you get that through, that could be a gold mine because everyone else is getting cancelled orders. So that's a really good important part. So I like that. Have you found that there's been an increase in error 855 listings being generic, but obviously from the product and brand? No. Not really. I don't think of it. By the way, everyone, I've heard this 4 times now. Error 85885, but I've never experienced it. So unfortunately, no. Sorry, I haven't. Has anyone else experienced it? I'd love to. I should put a poll up. Has anyone done it? The USA is very coupon culture heavy. Yeah. So let's be crystal clear. Because the USA is very coupon culture heavy, this is great. Why? Because when you do storefront stalking, most people select the product, they do right mouse click, and they look for the product which is profitable, i.e. half the price it is on Amazon. Now, if they can't find that, they might move on. Whereas if you know that you need to add a coupon, this just makes it so that people can't naturally see what the buy price is because you may have a coupon that other people cannot get. There are lots of coupons in the US where people just do not know about them. And so therefore, you now have a competitive advantage, which even storefront stalking doesn't help with because they don't know that coupon, which just changes the game. And in the UK, we don't have that. And the net result is that storefront stalking just kills listings. So all those products that you're finding don't last as long. But in the US, because of couponing, they do. And I absolutely love that. I think it's absolutely brilliant. So this is one of the really positives that I love the US. Starting to think selling beauty products, sending from Europe to Amazon USA. Cool. Let me know how it goes. Fantastic. I don't know, export, fine. Yeah, see how it goes. I know I did an interview with who's the guy? Amazon DE? Happy Arbitrage. He sells on Amazon DE. And I remember in that interview, he said to me, the UK was the cheapest place to buy beauty products in the whole of Europe. So I found that really interesting. But yeah, you might want to watch that. Check out my thing. He's doing 1.5 million on Europe. So I thought it's absolutely incredible. But yeah, really, really good. G says, do you use inventory labs? We don't, unfortunately. We use SDK. And I think even if we did use Inventory Labs, I'd probably still use SDK for one feature. So Seller Toolkit SDK I really like because it does the stock reclaims. Now, there's a lot of software out there right now or tools and services which will reclaim stock for you. But they do charge like a 25% fee, which I understand, but I don't want to be paying 25% of my sales volume. So what we do is we use Seller Toolkit's internal one, whereby they do a lot of the reclaims for you for a fixed fee, which is like $70 a month. And then once we've gone through that with SDK, we'll then go through with the likes of seller investigators, for example, and then we'll use that to see if they miss anything. Now, what I do really like is the fact that if they do find something that SDK doesn't find, then you go back to Norm, the owner of SDK, you share it with him, and he'll try and update the software to find it as well, which I really love. So it means basically you're only paying $70 a month to get back all this stock, and what you're not doing is incurring like a percentage of your cost of goods back. So again, it works out cheaper, and just for that one feature alone, I would do it. But also it has like the P&L and other parts, and you can download reports, and then also the repricer on it as well, which is one of the repricers we recommend if you're kind of like a mid-level seller. So I think it's really good. So let's go here. Question, 1 second. Oh, Tom needs a coffee. Right, I've got about another 10 minutes, people. I'm going to drop off at 1:45. Need some lunch. If you don't know, I live in Mexico, so it's nearly lunchtime. Right. A Bing. Hey, A Bing. What do you suggest for UK sellers to avoid tanking? Okay, so if you're a UK seller, avoid tanking. One of the key things we'd consider for you is when you buy a product, you need to ask yourself how easy it is for someone else to buy this product. So can I right mouse click find it on Google Shopping? Is it from a supplier that everyone knows about? Does that supplier have a discount code which is like literally at the top of the screen which says get 25% off with this discount code? Is it like on a newsletter that everyone accesses? Does it have a history on the selling chart of like in the past, the new seller count's gone through the roof and then back down again, through the roof, back down again, history of that. So all these kind of indicators are like, the more of them you see, the more likely it's going to crash. That's what I say. Also, how did you find it? Did you storefront someone else who then is like, everyone else is doing it? Like, there's 20 other, and when you look at the listing, look at all the other sellers on the listing. Like if there's 5 sellers or 10 sellers, but they've all got like 1 to 10 reviews, i.e. brand new sellers, you know that this is on a leads list, and it's just a matter of time before it's going up. If the new seller count is going up, you're like, man, this is going to be an absolute nightmare. So I think like my advice for you is if you do get that, like do have look for those indicators, and that's going to really help you out in regards to like what are the key things to look out for that likely that's going to happen. Now you might be asking the question, how can you get over a price tagging? Well, again, you want to create barriers to entry. This is coupon codes. This is suppliers don't need about. Wholesale's an option. It might be that you can't right mouse click find the supplier. It might be that you have to use cashback to get the price. It might be that you use gift cards to get that price. It might be that you can get the order through from Boots that no one else can do. Those kind of things are going to help you change the game. But again, just be mindful that if the easier it is to find for you, the easier it is for everyone else. And I promise you, it will show up on the leads list and it will get saturated. Hey, Tom, what is a good amount you need to start in USA Marketplace? So I'd probably say like 5,000. I think ideally $10,000. I would say. But it depends how big you want to go and what your goals are. I mean, if you want to be making money to live off, you can do it on 10,000, but I think, if you can get 20, 30, then you're going to be like, I'm fine. Why? Because everyone says, you see these videos, I started off with $500 and now I'm doing a 7-figure seller. You're like, yeah, I get that. But what they didn't say is that on that journey, they started off with $500, they proved the model worked, then they went and got a $5,000 credit line, then a $10,000 credit line, and a $20,000 credit line. And they kept churning those and increasing them. And then really, when you look at of the $1 million in revenue and the amount of money they spent, which is $500,000 in cost of goods, what percentage of that money came from the initial 500 and what came from the credit line? You'd be like, well, the majority came from the credit line. So that's the thing I say. And your problem in the USA is the fact that getting credit lines is really, really difficult. For example, we've been doing, $1.5 million a year now for like 2 years. We've been 3 years on Amazon, and one of my credit lines, like just credit cards, is probably about $15,000, which isn't huge. Which, in the same period of time in the US, in the UK, we've got over £100,000 pound credit line, which is $120,000. So it kind of makes sense. Hope that makes sense. How much is the academy group we have? So we have two courses. So I'll give you, like, I replied to someone today about it. We have 2 programs. One is the top seller program. Get started selling on Amazon. You get 3 calls a week. 2 with my sources. You get to talk to them, how to improve sourcing. They help you out. They do live deal analysis on the call, like, i.e. you take your deals and they'll help you analyze them. So that's really good, spotting bad signs. And then you get 1 call a week with me, which is a group session. And we have a whole training course around that supports you. That's $97 per month, and that's really useful. So again, if you're like a single seller, solo, and you're building really, really good, and that's like a Google Meet call. And then you have my Seller Academy, which is really the high-level mastermind. And that's where it's taking you from like 6-figure to 7-figure seller. Generally, most of the people in there have VAs or want to have VAs and build systems. So we give all the processes. We do the administration, the purchasing, the sourcing, how I run businesses, how I scale my time, all the strategies, the techniques we look at, all the little tips and tricks about, like getting all these different processes that just make your life so much easier so you can focus on making the money and not wasting it. So that whole program is at $3,000, $2,997. But you've got to book a call to obviously get onto that as well. We want to make sure it's right for you. So they're the 2 programs that we have. One is for like getting started, and one is for scaling with VAs. So hope that makes sense. And I do a lot of work with the Seller Academy. I speak with them all the time, and I listen to their problems, and we create solutions to support them as well. So that's really good. Miguel said, Inventory Lab is very expensive for what it is, and Profit Analytics hides a lot of the ASIN-related expenses. Yeah, so we use SDK. We don't use Inventory Labs, but I know a lot of people love Inventory Labs, so I can't really comment, but I've not really commented. I've not really used it, so I can't say. Miguel, does SDK work for the US? Yes, I use it in the US. I saw one video that there's a SellerAmp integration. Yeah. So the one thing which I really love about SDK and SellerAmp, the 2 owners know each other really well. And when I load up my ASINs, for example, SDK will pull the data, SellerAmp will pull the data from SDK, and it will show me how many products I've sold, how many stock I've got inbound, how much is in Amazon right now, last sale price, all the previous SKUs. I can click on it and load up my sales. So it just makes reordering a little bit easier because you can just see, I've got stock in, I've got stock coming in, don't buy that, cool. So again, it just means one less check. It's a lot easier. And because the 2 of them integrate, it's really, really useful. Interesting enough, if you want to know, we have something called the USS, the Ultimate Sourcing Sheet. And this is like a buy sheet. So whenever you purchase anything, you record it on this Google Sheet. And what you can do is just do 1 click send, and it will send from the Google Sheet. It will go to our servers, and it will go to Amazon, create the listings for you, and it will also upload the cost of goods to SDK, which is really good. So it will record it all in SDK. And then on top of that, if you use SDK for your repricer, you've already got your cost of goods in there as well. So it just makes it so much easier, and that's what we want. We want ease of use. So that's a really good thing. I've got about 2 minutes, guys, so do drop your questions down below before I finish. Is the returns accurate? Yeah, it doesn't give a percentage returns, but it tells you like 300 units sold, 2 returns. So you have to kind of do mental arithmetic in your head. It'd be nice if they actually did it for you, but they don't. But I'm surprised they didn't give a return percentage. So that makes sense. But yeah, it is accurate. Yeah, and you can click on it and go through. Oh, got some dogs. Facebook user. Hey, Facebook user. Nice to see you. I'm in the process of hiring my first VA. Could you give me any advice on what to look for and what to expect? Well, if you are hiring your first VA, I can strongly recommend enough Fast Track FBA VA Academy. And by the way, this question you're asking, we just tell you exactly what to do because we've hired 800 VAs for 400 Amazon sellers, OA and wholesale, USA, UK, Canada, and a bit in Europe. And we just tell them exactly what to do. But if there's going to be a bit of advice, when you get your VA, go onto my channel, go to videos, go to popular, and you want to look for a picture of me in front of a computer going with a female VA right there. That is basically a how-to of have a 1-hour call every single day with your VA. And if there's one thing I recommend to all people with VAs is that they should do that exact process for the first month every single day. Because when we look at the analytics around all of our customers, those who do that, as I explained in that video, they have the best success. Those who do not i.e. reply, maybe Discord, just have a chat, but do not do the call, they have the least success with their VA. And at the end of the day, what you want to do is get successful VAs. And really about when you have a VA is imparting your knowledge into the VA so they go and do that knowledge for 40 hours a week. And that video is how you do it practically step by step. And I talk about that step by step in that guide. So check that out. I think you'll really, really love it. But I think it's a really, really good question. I'm going to copy that one into my little channel. There you go. 1 second. Fantastic. Cool. So, oh my God, I got to go through. Tom needs to finish soon. Too many questions. Hey, thank you for the questions, by the way. Really, really grateful. It's nice to not just be on my own. So let's drink some coffee. Let's get through these questions. I saw some messaging in your group from other people about Mercury not being that good for USA card anymore. What was the issue? Do you recommend any cards that people do UK? Mercury's fine. I still have no problem. We still use Mercury as a card provider. They actually gave me $6,000 for free, as in like a credit line. I was like, woohoo! By the way, they have a credit card, but you have to put $50,000 down. But they just gave me, we don't put any money in the credit line. I'm like, I've got 6,000. Thank you so much. So that's really good, but I don't know why. But we do use them. So Mercury are good. I like them. I have no problem. I use them for both Fast Track FBA and for my Amazon business. So I still recommend them. I still think they're good, and we're really happy with it. And did you find people to use Rakuten for non-USA? Did you find ways to use Rakuten? Yeah, we did. Long story short, just don't connect your PayPal, because if you connect your PayPal, what's going to happen is they'll detect your PayPal is not USA, and then therefore they will shut your account down. So do not connect your PayPal. That's the only way we do it. We cash it out to a USA bank account, which can even be your Mercury one. So that's the way it works. Wow, that seems like a lot of time saving having that. Yeah, honestly, absolutely is. Makes it so simple. Absolutely love it. Let's kind of jump through Amazon. Hello, Miguel Rivia. Hope you will be fine. I have created an account in December 2020. I think he's trying to talk to you, Miguel. In 2023, I have uploaded 2 products at beginning in January, but my venture is stranded through Amazon policy. I'd probably join our Facebook group, Fast Track FBA Facebook group, and you can ask the question there. But I'm not sure if Miguel's able to help you. Facebook user, thanks. You are welcome. No problem. Thank you for being in Facebook. Woohoo. Z, should I start in the UK or USA? I live in the UK. I'm just going to say now, I think you should start in the UK. Why? You are right. The USA has better opportunity, but the cost of setting up in the UK is much lower. And especially when you're under the VAT threshold in the UK, it's really easy to play and you don't have to do it. By the way, 95% of all businesses fail, and your problem really isn't going to be the size of the opportunity. Your problem's going to be like, do you really want to do this business? Because I ain't going to lie, as much as we sit here on YouTube going, it's amazing, like it does actually take hard work. And a lot of people just don't want to do the hard work. So should you start in the UK or USA as a UK national? I would always say start in the UK, because you can do it up to the VAT threshold and then shut it down and start in the US again once you've made some more money and now that know that this is the business for you. But if you start in the USA, you've got to create a company, you've got to create bank accounts, you've got to do all these things. These are costs, and it ain't cheap. So just be mindful that you really want, by the way, if you don't do your tax filings, the IRS come after you, and they are probably well known for not being the nicest of people. So holidays in the US might be out of order. So I would strongly recommend, if you're in the UK, if it was me, I would say you should do UK first, just to make sure that you're happy with doing the business itself. So I hope that makes sense. Facebook user said start in the UK. Damn right, 100% with you. Right. Hi, I'm new to Amazon FBA in Europe. I'm stuck on the VAT process. Can you recommend ways to start? Do I go with Amazon VAT service? What country is good to start initially? I can only really say start in the country that you're located in. If you are outside of the UK, you can start in the UK, it's fine. But you might actually find it easier to start in Europe. I'm not 100% sure. But I think in regards to VAT process, you need to speak to an accountant. Yeah, by the way, because I'm definitely not qualified to give you advice on that. My VAT number is not yet issued. That is the reason. Okay, yeah, you're going to have to wait for your VAT number. That's it. Unfortunately, that happens. How much money to replace 45K salary? Oh, great question. So 45K salary, let's do it really simplistically. Let's assume you make, I'm going to divide it by 10, that's 4,500. Let's make you make 4K per month income. I know you don't. On 45K, you're making about 3,333 per month. But let's just call it 4K. So if you want to make 4K per month, and let's assume you're operating a 10% net margin. So to make 4K per month net profit, and you want to run a 10% net margin, so that means you need to make 40,000 in, should we say, sales per month. So you make 40,000 in sales per month, you make 10% net profit, that's going to give you 4,000 net profit. So if you're doing 40,000 per month, multiplied by 12 months, it's about 480,000. grand. That's kind of back of the cigarette math paper. Now, I will be quite honest, because of where you are, you probably want to be looking at about a 7% net margin, and you probably want to actually get that even down to 5%. Why? Because what you don't want to be doing is taking all the money out. For example, like if I'm going to do it, let's say, for example, you might want to do like $1 million per year to take out 40K. Why? Because you could probably do it on $500,000 if you're really good at what you're doing and have a good operation, but you're probably taking all the profits out to replace 45K. But if you're going for $1 million a year and then you start taking the money out, that means you're taking out maybe 4K and leaving in 2 to another 4K back into the business to continue reinvesting to grow. Because otherwise, every day you're working or month you're working, you're just paying your own salary, which is effectively your job. And what you want is the business to grow. So I'd probably recommend going a little bit higher. So you could do it on $500,000 per year in revenue, but you do it on up to $1 million a year would probably be good. Now, if we're talking about $500,000 in revenue, that's about 40K per month in sales. 40K per month in sales, you need about 20K in cash, and you generally want about 3 months worth of cash. So that would be about 3 times 20K is 60K. 60K in cash to get going to do that. And by the way, it's going to take you time to spin up. So that would be kind of back of the cigarette fag pack kind of mathematics, but I hope that helps. But in process, 15 years are given to you. You need to speak to HMRC. I can't help you with your VAT thing. I can't do it. I have no UK business. Okay, cool. Not me. Yeah. Miguel, he lives in Puerto Rico. I need to come visit. Silly question, but does that restart every year in January? No, that is a rolling 12-month period, not calendar. So if you do over 85 in any rolling 12 months, then you've got to go VAT registered. Thanks for the answer. I live in Portugal, but registered in Amazon in Spain. Fine, yeah, no problem. By the way, I think Europe's really good because once you're registered in Spain, you can buy from the whole of Europe. Works great. How much budget required for that? Oh, we did it. Yeah, we answered that one. And one of my US WODs is deactivated in Amazon Section 3. 9 ignorance, I create a case log and Amazon not replying. Those stuff as well. If you have IP complaints or things, Seller Basics. You speak to them. They're not cheap, but they are good. Ladies and gentlemen, I do believe that it's time. If you have liked this live stream, hit the thumbs up. I am back next week at the same time. If there's anything else I can do to you, please let me know down below. And obviously, I will catch up with you same time next week. But I just want to say a really big thank you to everyone joining. And obviously, I'll catch up with you next week. Thank you for the questions. See you next week. Bye.